next guest is a playwright, actor, theater critic, poet, and journalist from Cleveland who's taken her powerful journey of transforming into her true self to the stage in a one-woman play called Exact Change. Welcome via Skype, Christine Howey. How are you, Christine?
I'm great, Joanne. Thanks for having me on your program.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, we showed a clip of Exact Change, and I was telling you beforehand, every time I watch it, my eyes fill up with tears. It's so very powerful and poignant, really. So what was it like actually coming out as transgender in midlife?
Well, it was difficult because I was successful as a man, and I had a good job and paid good money, and so everything was in place. You know, my whole life was in place. At 45 years old, I actually started the transition at 42 or so because I needed some work, but it was difficult. It was difficult for my family and for friends and for me because I had to readjust almost everything in my life.
And you talk about work. How is work coming out transgender? Is it difficult in terms of the work that you had before or making a living? Has that changed dramatically?
Well, sure. I mean, I was terrified of it leading up to the transition. The day I transitioned on September 1st, 1990, and I was terrified that I wouldn't be able to earn a living. I just didn't know what would happen. As it turned out, I was fortunate. The people I was working with at that time invited me back in to start working on a project, and that was turned out good. But later on, when I left that company and was working for another company here in Northeast Ohio, I had just won I hadn't been with them long, for 2 or 3 months. I just won them a large account, a large national account, because I was a creative director of the agency. Mm-hmm. And when after that, they found out I was transgender and fired me.
Wow.
So that's when it came home that yeah, there certainly are consequences, and other people who've transitioned, of course, have had even more problems than I have.
So after that, they fired you. What was your comeback, sort of? I mean, when did you actually come out with Exact Change, this incredibly powerful show?
Well, that was happening about 20 years ago. Now it was only 3 years ago I started working on my play, because I had been an actor, and then I started writing poetry, and I decided to see if I could turn this into a show, and I really didn't know if I could turn 40 different poems into a show, but it looks like I have, and it's gotten extremely good response, and as you mentioned, and others have, audiences are very taken with it, touched by it, and fortunately it's quite funny, so that helps too. I think that's one of the ways it reaches out and grabs people, is because there's a lot of humor in it also.
Well, I've only seen a clip of it, and it's really powerful. What's your intention with the show?
Well, I'm opening a run at Playhouse Square in downtown Cleveland in June for a 2-week run, which is very exciting because that is the major theater venue in Cleveland. It's where all the touring shows come in from around the country, from Broadway and so forth. So that is very exciting. And then I'm looking to tour the show to other cities and states around the country, and even beyond that, if possible. I think it's an important message, and I've been very encouraged and gratified by the response it's received.
I definitely know it's an important message, and let us know when you come to this area, Jersey, Philadelphia. We'll reach out to you. What does it feel like coming home to yourself?
I don't know if it's even possible to explain the joy. Right now I'm getting goosebumps, and it's been 25 years. Because when you aren't in the right gender or aren't yourself, and for whatever reason, it is so disconnecting. And to actually finally find out and live as the person you are, I've tried to put it in words. It's difficult to. I think One time I said it was like going from black and white to Technicolor, sort of like the Wizard of Oz. All of a sudden you go like, oh my gosh, there are colors out here, and fragrances and smells and all this, which I had been removed from. I'd just been sort of disconnected and numb for a lot of my life because I was so busy hiding that I had no other energy to actually experience life.
So life becomes vibrant, real, more, and you feel from what you're saying that you become more alive. What's the push-pull feeling that you were experiencing all throughout your lifetime?
Well, it was always difficult because I knew this was there under the surface, but then I had to keep monitoring myself constantly when I was around other people to make sure I didn't make feminine gestures or walk or stand in a feminine way. You know, I did that in school and got bullied, and I realized that was wrong. So I was very good at it. No one knew, no one had a suspicion that I was transgender before I actually made the change.
So
I was really good at it, and the trouble was I was so good at it, I almost destroyed myself.
Well, because you had to hide so much, even from yourself to some extent, right?
Oh, totally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this play gets incredible, not only national, but global attention because you deserve it and it's powerful and the message needs to be coming out. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you, Joanne. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Power Your Life will be right back. Ahead, find out what's hot for next week. A first step to understanding differences in people, whether it's cultural, religious, racial, sexual, gender, or other, is to realize that we don't really know enough. Yet we've already formed ideas, even opinions and myths that may not be accurate and can be demeaning and hurtful. What's really important is to examine our biases that may not be true and to decide to be open and to find out more. We need to suspend those judgments so that we can be in a place of empathy by trying to experience what it's like to be another person. Only then can we be in acceptance. And when we accept another person, we more fully accept and embrace who we are. Thanks for being with us today. Next time on Power Your Life, why are we so fascinated by royals? Find out about the modern spin on etiquette and some scoop on the royal show when we see you next time.